Hey Explorers, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Robert.
And today on Exploring the Local Life, we're going to be talking to you about
something that's been on our minds lately. What does it all mean? RV park, RV resort, RV campground, RV dispersed camping, mobile home park.
Yeah, we're going to help you find out what those actually mean and hopefully save you some grief when you show up at your campsite ready to be at your resort and find yourself totally not at a resort at all.
Totally not at the resort.
So let's get into it. All right, so the very first thing that we want to address are the actual terms and what we all think they actually mean first. So let's talk about an RV park. What is an RV park? Generally speaking, you expect to go to an RV park and have full hookups, 30 and 50 amp. You expect there to be a bathhouse. You expect for there to be probably no tents camping. It's going to be just RVs,
travel
trailers,
fifth wheels.
Maybe some pop-up campers, stuff like that. Everyone's very enclosed inside type of a thing. There isn't really going to probably be some bells and whistles. There'll be some amenities, all this stuff, but generally you're there for a campsite.
It's the weekend. You're going to be watching and grilling out, having a good time.
There you go. So what about a campground, right? They can be like an RV park, but a lot of times the main differences with campgrounds versus RV parks or whatever is whether or not they have full hookups. They may not necessarily have a sewer system. They might not. And you should expect to see some tent campers, maybe some hammock campers, that sort of thing. It's going to be a little bit probably more rustic.
A little more crunchy.
Maybe a little bit closer to a state park without being a state park. Which brings us to what the heck is a state park?
Yeah, and that could be a lot of variety in a state park. Now, a lot of our experience has been in Georgia and Florida with their state parks. And in Florida, let me tell you, it's wild out there. You could be camped at your campground and just a few sites over, so a family of wild boar could be walking through.
That's a state park.
Yeah, and you may not even know you have neighbors because the brush is so thick.
Right, and they're usually run by the state government. They usually have a 14-day maximum amount of time that you can be camped there, that sort of thing. Don't expect to find full hookups. There's not going to probably be a sewer, have a dump station, that sort of thing. And a national park is pretty much the same sort of thing, except now it's run by the United States government, national, not state.
Yeah, and here you'll see any type of thing. Everything goes. As long as it's clean and legal, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So what about mobile home parks?
Or trailer parks.
Pretty much if you are living the RV lifestyle, moving around a bit or a lot, you're not going to be going to mobile home parks. You're not going to be going to trailer parks because those are really pretty much for folks that are living there fixed all the time. Full-time, long-term, and maybe they are not into the RVing lifestyle or anything having to do with RVs.
Yeah, but they will accept RVs for long-term, but you would probably have to get very similar, very connected, whatever's like the mobile homes that are already there. So keep that in mind.
All right, so we've discussed the basics. We've discussed RV campgrounds, RV parks, and we've gone into, mobile home parks, trailer parks, and that stuff. But what about premier, luxury, RV resorts?
My timing was off. What about them?
Now, totally different class. Now, if you are looking for an RV full-on RV resort, you probably have a really nice rig and we'd like to hang out with you. However, what you're looking for there is you really have to do your homework. Now, if we're going to an RV campground looking for an RV park, we're looking for availability, relative safety, and a clean, modern campground if we can find it. However, that's going to be the mainstream, pretty much easy target to hit. If you're looking for something really nice, you have to realize what you're looking for can be rare. A lot of places are maybe past their prime that at one time were resorts, for the definition of your 1980s teen movie resort, Camp Wanahakalugi or something. But some of these resorts have been around a long time and they're a little bit long in the years. So you're going to be looking to ask some specific questions about what you want. What defines a luxury premier RV resort?
And, that's not really something that we can really define for you. You need to have that already in your mind, what you're looking for. So that way, when you pick up the phone to call, you already have those things in your head. But we do have a few pointers for you to sort of get you started if you're like, I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah. Number one, if we're staying there, it's not a luxury RV.
Unless we were invited to stay as a review. Instead of having to pay, we could conduct a review or something like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you see us pulling in, y'all might want to...
Keep going. Keep it under control, baby. So we did stay at Crossing Creeks RV Resort in Blairsville, Georgia, and it is gorgeous. It is fantastic. It is modern. It is clean. It has deeded sites with a rule book out the wazoo. It is beautiful, fantastic, and you can come in transient and enjoy their spa. Their heated, year-round, massive pool. Their spa with an actual steam room, an actual massage situation going on, and we're not talking about some scary looking thing. No, we're talking top notch. And they're not even finished developing that place. They're going to be putting in an additional tennis court, and we're talking nice new stuff. So enough about that. I'm getting a little carried away.
So
you got to know what you want and
yes.
start researching it. What are some of those things that people need to research?
So maybe the first thing you might want to ask is, what year was it built? And not just that, but specifically, like if they do have a spa, what year was it built? When was it last renovated? What kind of services are offered? You really want to start thinking and asking these very specific questions, because that will give you an indication of, even if it's older, but they have been renovating, if they've been working on it, if they're doing construction and things like that, or they have done it, that will help you determine whether or not it's going to be up to your standard of niceness.
And they will have specific answers for you. They will know, because they've been spending a mint.
Yes.
They will know how new they are. If they're not new, they'll know when they were doing a renovation, what's the newest facility, and what they're featuring now. So that's just one of those things, along with, do they have asphalt or concrete level campsites? Makes a big difference, right? Oh.
It does. And also, you might actually, depending on how specific you want to be, if you just want like some sort of asphalt that was laid in whenever, you don't care, and you're like, okay, it was flat, it's good, I don't have any questions. If you're very, very specific and you don't want crumbly asphalt, I'm saying this specifically because sometimes 20, 30 years ago, I guess, they did this and then they never redid it.
They took a picture.
They took a picture of it when they first did it.
And it's
they
on the
posted it
website.
on the website, yeah.
So that's another thing you got to research.
Yeah, like when was everything redone last? Ask these questions. If you are very particular, we don't care. We're like, awesome, oh, bonus, it's paved. We're good.
Yeah, it helps out quite a bit. So those are things you got to be very, aware of. So in addition to asking how old is the campground, when were things renovated last, what are your facilities, also what kind of activities they have, and that really is going to define a lot of what's going on.
Okay, now almost every camping location is I'm going to say camping location, so I don't have to go through all the defined terms that we have talked about previously. So they will have a website, almost all of them, right? And sometimes you will find this amazing website and you're like, this is awesome. Look at the RVs that they have photographed here. Look at that grass. Look at that campsite. This is wonderful. I love this place. Oh, and it's reasonably priced. This is great. I'm going to go ahead and book it.
Hold on.
Stop right there. Unless you just want a place to park, because you don't actually know what any of that means. Those are stock photos. Those were photos taken 20, 30 years ago.
With the best angle.
With the best angle, with the one motorhome. The one shiny motorhome that showed up one time. Okay, they have the one time they had the fishing derby, whatever.
So be an investigator. Get your Sherlock Holmes hat on and get on the internet. Get on Google Maps. Get on Bing Maps and get an aerial shot that's nice and close up, so you're really able to see what's going on there. Is that pool nice and sparkly blue, or is it a little bit green?
Do they really have trees?
Exactly, because sometimes trees age out and they got to cut them down and they never replant them.
Does it have grass?
Mm-hmm. Maybe they took it again that first year, and grass does have life cycle. Grasses do die out.
Oh, they have a doggy park. Do they really? And how big is it? And how nasty is it at this point?
Is the chain link fence all rusted out now?
And how's that playground looking? Have they ever replaced that equipment?
Yeah, so many things for you to be a sleuth about, especially, again, if you are really concerned with a high-end luxury resort, because some places, that we've said, they used to be resorts back in the day, and they can't change their names.
That is true. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we've already mentioned to call. When you call, you can ask those questions directly to a person. But aside from that, and going online and looking at the aerial maps and Google Maps and all those things, go ahead and do an images search for the campsite. See what comes up, okay? Get photos from people that have actually been there. They're going to show you the real stuff, okay? They will show you a campsite that has either overgrown grass or it doesn't have mulch anymore, or whatever happens to be going on there. You'll see that in those user photos because they don't have a vested interest in it. And of course, there are different campsite review websites. There's RV Parky, there's Campendium, there's also Good Sam's also has reviews available. I use a combination of all of those, and I read a lot of the reviews. I usually start with the most, oh my gosh, this is the greatest place ever, and also never go here again.
Yeah.
Because based on that, I can get a balanced idea of if somebody just had a bad day and they got offended, or they didn't read the rules.
Exactly. Sometimes I read reviews here, and it sounds like whoever's writing it had their last cigarette 6 hours ago, and they really want it. And nothing on earth is going to make them happier than to complain about something. So oftentimes, try to think about what was this person expecting when they came to the campground. And very obviously, like Jessica said, did they read the rules? They're there for a reason.
Yes, and that's a lot of websites will actually have their policies on there. That is something that they, for the most part, are truthful about. Read them. If you have any concerns, questions about those, when you're calling to find out about the age of everything, go ahead and ask them about those policies. Are those really enforced? Is that really a thing? And, we're saying all of these things, and you can't always 100% prepare, even when you've done all of this research, all of this homework, looked at the policies, you've gotten somebody on the phone, they say, absolutely, yes, this is how we do it. You will every now and then run into just people that just outright lie. It just happens, okay? Or the person that checked you in is new or old. They were there and they didn't read the new policy. Like, sometimes that stuff does happen. It does.
Yeah. I find that RV parks, campgrounds, whatever, they bring out the best and the lowest common denominator.
Oh my gosh. Having said that, we've had some really good. We've had really good experiences. Though we're making this sound horrible, but no, we've had some really good experiences. We are pretty much like,
we're good with the flow, so long as it's safe and clean and kept up with. And we're not being floating away in sewer. We're great.
Yeah, we're pretty low key, but we're just giving you guys pointers and tips so that way hopefully your experience will be better, or you'll at least be prepared and have the tools to make your stay better.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up.
We've said a whole lot of stuff, okay? We just want to drill down a couple things that are very, very important, things that we see a lot of times as complaints on websites when they're doing reviews, okay? If you have a really large rig, definitely call and ask, is this really big rig friendly? What's the biggest you can accommodate? And really ask them, like, oh yeah, no, we can fit you. No, that does not mean anything. That is just somebody saying, yeah, come on down. They might not even have the information that you are actually asking.
And ask, do they have enough big rig sites? Because they may have hundreds of sites, but only 20 or so that can fit a really big bus.
That's 50 amp. That has all the stuff that you needed.
Exactly, because they may have the space for you, but it may be a 30 amp spot. So make sure that you ask, is it big enough for a 50-foot bus? Is it big enough to have the 50 amps that I'm going to need? Make sure you ask the specific questions so you get the right answers. And
also ask, what is the approach like? Is it possible for you to come in? What kind of tree coverage do they have when you're coming in? Your site might be open, but the space to get there might have some overhanging trees that might make you uncomfortable, whether or not it's safe for somebody else or okay for somebody else to go through.
Yeah, Jessica even read a review about somebody complaining about the same campground having too many trees and then having no trees.
Like the spot that they ended up with didn't have any trees, and they were mad about that.
Yeah, seriously, come on, people, get real.
And if you can actually do an drive through and before you go with your rig, check it out before you book, all that stuff. That is, of course, the best. And if you can actually ask specific questions from people that have been there, those types of things, ask.
And who knows, there may be a Google video run through of a campsite.
That's right. Yeah, there might be. Something else that people have issues with sometimes is dog friendly. How dog friendly? Does it mean like, yeah, you can have your dog there, but we're not going to actually have a place for them to run? Or, you can't set up a gate outside, like a little fenced in area. Can you set up a run? These are all questions you need to ask, because it might make the difference between you and your dog having an enjoyable stay or not.
Exactly. The campground, the campsite, the RV resort, they can't read your mind and they don't know your needs. They're going to, do the best they can to represent what they can do.
Yeah, and kind of along those lines, but not really. Kid friendliness. Sure, they might have a playground, but do they actually have any activities for them? Like if there's going to be like a big holiday weekend, do they have any events and activities for kids? Because that will let you know whether or not, by law, unless you're doing like a 55 up, do not quote me this, I'm not a lawyer, but generally speaking, if a place does not specify 55 up, it's family friendly. And that just means you can bring your kids. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be at a campground with a bunch of families, with a bunch of people that are excited about seeing your kids, people that don't mind kids, running and playing at the playground. People actually have complained about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you are one of those people that do not want to hear kids running and playing or whatever, go somewhere that doesn't have a playground and see if you can seek out a 55 plus or adults only place, really, because
you'll be much happier.
You'll get
what you want.
And those families will be happier. It just works out better. I mean, we respect the fact that not everyone thinks kids are darling. We get that, but then you also need to adjust your
expectations.
Be fair. We were all kids once. So that's how you'll know whether or not they will deal with children, or whether, it actually is like, come families, let's have a good time together.
Mm-hmm. Now, some folks aren't like us, and we're always on the road, so it can be a big thing for you when you have a big trip planned. You're going to be on the road maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and everything's got to be perfect. If you want it to be perfect, make those phone calls. Do your homework. This is your yearly mission. Treat it as such. And then you are much more likely to have that great time you've been hoping for. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment if you have a good constructive comment to say. Further, make sure to check out below for any links to shopping, exploring the local life products that I'm not wearing today.
That's right, we have some t-shirts, Teespring.
And coffee mugs. We're all about coffee mugs. We just can't buy coffee mugs, which I want to buy all the time because we only have so much space in our rig. But you can get your own officially, unofficially licensed Exploring the Local Life gear online.
That's right. Oh, and hit the bell for subscriptions and notifications.
Yes, as Destin likes to say, if you feel this video has earned your subscription, please go ahead and ring the bell. Thank you so much.
See you guys. Bye.